Welcome to the Queendom. I'm Sarah Engel, and today we're gonna teach you how to do Aurora or Sleeping Beauty makeup. Because Sleeping Beauty has so many different looks, I wanna do a blend of all three of those different looks for you. Kind of like I did with Rapunzel, if you recall. Hey, that's actually been my favorite tutorial I've done so far. So if you wanna see another Disney princess makeup tutorial, you should go check out the Rapunzel one. I'll link to that in the description. There's a lot of different looks you could do for Sleeping Beauty, but I wanna take elements of all of those. I want to take some of the park makeup, some of the classic cartoon makeup, and keep a little bit of the air of the new Maleficent style Sleeping Beauty and blend them together to come up with our own new take on Aurora. So, without any further ado, let's get this show on the road. So what you're gonna wanna do is make sure your face is clean, obviously, and then prime your face. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this, and we're gonna speed version this so you don't have to watch all of this. I should mention too that I already have purple contact lenses in. I don't usually have purple eyes. If it's your first time here, don't worry, I don't usually look like an alien. Or maybe I do. Okay, my face is all nice and primed. Yours should be too, and I'm gonna grab some foundation. All right, today I think I'm gonna use a little bit of my RCMA Research Council of Makeup Artists VK number 11 palette, but really just use whatever foundation you like. And again, if you want more details on costume or stage makeup, there's a whole video on that. So all Disney parks use Ben Nye makeup, and they have like a makeup guide for each of the characters, and all the shades in it are all Ben Nye. It's a costume, stage makeup, foundation, and just makeup. It's honestly really good. This is a palette that has a whole bunch of different shades, and I think it's really helpful, especially for contouring. So most people aren't gonna put this on with their fingers. You can use a makeup sponge. I really like it with my fingers. I'm really weird. While I'm just doing the foundation, I might put a little bit also on the top of my eyelids, just kind of pre-prime them. Once you have your foundation done and basically like your solid one color, we're gonna add some more dimension and do things to make it look more like Sleeping Beauty. She's a cartoon character, so you can go the solid one color more than you can trying to go out and about, and it can be a little bit heavier since it is for a costume. Okay, for contouring, I'm gonna go to my RCMA palette and pull out a color here that has a little bit more grayish undertones. You see a nice little outline here of Aurora's face. And if you look and see, she's a very, like, this is definitely like a triangle. And we're gonna just start blending that in. And the key is just look at your face and compare it to photos that you're trying to emulate. And then any areas that you see a shadow on their face, you don't see it on theirs, you add that darker color. You can also pull some of that darkest if you're trying to make the chin protrude more. Add shadow underneath. Beauty Blender is also a great tool to blend, hence the name Beauty Blender. So I'm taking a super light color. I don't know what this is called. Let's see. Porcelain. And I'm putting it right at the tip here because that is a key area. And don't worry, we're gonna blend this in a lot. So the key areas that I've focused on for myself are definitely highlighting in the cheekbone area. And again, this isn't with like a highlighter yet. We'll do a shiny highlighter maybe later. Then contouring the dark down here and making sure we highlight especially the chin, and then pulling that on up above right where the dark contour is, so that we make this more angular jawline here. Okay, I think we have done a thorough enough job of our foundation. We are gonna move on to the next step. I actually have a color correcting palette, but today I'm just gonna use this shade right here just because it has serious orange undertones to it. It's not even an undertone, it's practically orange. And just place a little bit. It's to cancel out the blue. So you don't pull this all underneath your eye, just areas where there's blue. Once you've done your color correcting under your eyes, you're gonna want to take a little bit of that bye-bye under eye and say bye-bye to your under eyes. Once you finish up with your bye-bye under eye, you're going to seal that in with some powder. In my case, I love Laura Mercier brightening powder. Like, this little duo is magical. And once you've set that with a loose powder, we're really sealing this in here. I like to take a pressed powder with a beauty blender and really press that on in there. Seal it in. All right. There we go. We have finished our under eyes. So I'm going to take the Briar Rose blush palette. Light pink blush powder here is supposed to be Sleeping Beauty's actual blush color. It's not that far from what they use at the park. They use one just called Pink Blush. Pink blush is what they use for most of the princesses at the Disney parks. I really like this one, the Sleeping Beauty one. It's a much pinker pink. This pink blush over here next to this looks way more reddish. This here is the Ben Nye pink blush, and this is the pink blush that Aurora wears. I think for this one, I'm going to go with the Besame. Okay, yeah, I think this is gonna be a really pretty color for Aurora. I like it. So yeah, since it's a princess, we are gonna do focus on the apples of the cheeks, but since her face is very angular, we definitely wanna make sure we pull it up, kind of draw your eye up. Oh my goodness, I look so much more alive now. That's such an improvement. So you've probably seen this in almost every one of my makeup tutorials. High beam, this highlight right here. I love this stuff. It just looks good on at least everybody I've ever seen it on. It's just so flattering. I don't know, there's something very also natural about it. Oh yes, this is much better. So what I'm seeing about Aurora's nose is it's very straight, but it still is upturned. So I'm doing a little bit of a V underneath to give it a little more of that upturned look. And a lot of times we'll connect that and make a little box here, but today we are not. We're gonna keep it very straight. And her nose is very narrow, even down at the bottom. So again, like, we're gonna pull in some of these sides by adding some dark. You can even help to take a light matte color along the sides up to that point where you were not all the way in, but on the sides a little bit to make it look like the new shadow is narrower. It just makes your nose look narrow because the shadow is now focused here instead of any shadow that's more down here. Okay, so now the contour on the nose is pretty much locked in place. We're gonna highlight a bit too. Usually I would highlight a little more this way on the tip of the nose. I think today, because of Sleeping Beauty's very straight nose, I'm just gonna go straight down to the tip, maybe a little, and then just kind of blend that. Okay, there we go. We've got our nose done. This Adobe 102 color is the movie color that you would use for all over as a base. The lid color that they use at the parks is called Blushing Bride. I'm gonna use this on the lid from the parks, and I'm going to use Adobe 102. As you can see it right here. Let's just go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start with the lightest color. Brow bone and onto the center of the lid. Moving on to our next lightest color is gonna be that blushing bride color I was telling you about. And this is gonna be the eyelid color. And we're going to do a little bit of Adobe 102, kind of see. I'm gonna start kind of do like an outer corner and build it up. Now I'm just gonna make sure like every step of the way, we're just gonna keep this super, super blended with a fluffy brush. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna take, I'm gonna use the same brush, go into Rose 105. All right. I'm gonna put this in the crease and just in the darkest spots. This is gonna keep it very, very pink. I like how pink Aurora's makeup is. And use it a little bit to just kind of blend everything together with that lighter pink. We do want to make, I think, the crease just a little bit darker. Keep building up that Rose 105 in your crease until you're happy with how dark it is. I might clean it up just a bit, adding some more of that light matte into the center there and back on the brow bone, just a little bit. Okay, so for underneath the eyes, you can, if you want to go the park version, you can take a brown pencil and very lightly go underneath the eyes, right in there. And we're gonna take some of Dust 107. And you see over here, Dust 107 is also her brow color. This basically just do the outer third of lower lash lines because we're gonna define it. We're just gonna use this to define our eyes a little bit, but in a very, very soft way. Ooh, I like that. It's a really, really soft, like almost yellowish color, which you wouldn't expect. Should you do it again on the other side? I like it. For the parks makeup, I believe they're basically just doing whatever complements their brow color. So this is really up for interpretation. Yeah, I think out and about, like with my regular hair, this would not be the color for my brows. It's definitely yellowy, but I think with the wig, it's going to make it look more blonde-ish. Okay, there we go. We've got ourselves some brows. If you want to go the park style, they usually do. They like a liquid liner on top, or they can use a brown pencil. I'm basically gonna do just like some top waterline lining, and that's gonna be it. So we want to kind of pull in more of the light ethereal look that we see in the live action. I feel like there's something about that to me that just feels very Aurora. This is going to be tricky when this is far away because I don't have two hands. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lightly, like literally put dots with the felt liquid liner tip. So it's so incredibly light. And just smudge it a little bit because there's no harsh lines. It's kind of nothing too dark, nothing too harsh. Just want it so light and airy. And if you're doing this for princess parties, for photos, you can maybe go a little heavier and actually put on lashes. I just really like this light airy look and I like it to be different, so we're gonna go with it. All right, so I'm gonna do something that's gonna sound a little strange. It's gunmetal from Naked. It's a shimmery dark gray, and kind of pat that. And a little on the outside too, over where we had that. I'm good with that. If you want to go more to the cartoon look and add lashes, you can absolutely do that. You can even do, if you're doing princess parties, I know a lot of people like lashes because they like the way it photographs. I would recommend it for that. But for me today, just to be what I feel like Aurora, to really blend the three, keeping the eyes really light is important for me for that. So we're gonna move on now to the lips. Because my lips are definitely smaller than hers, still going to use this wine color, Color Stay Long Wear lip liner from Revlon. Make sure when you do this that you make sure that you are making that Cupid's bow, which is this thing right here that looks like a V on the top of your lips. You want to keep that and maybe even make it more pronounced. Even though we have this very pretty lipstick, to be very, very precise with the placement, I'm still gonna use a lip brush, so. I'm gonna do a little bit of shading with this to give the lips a bit of a fuller appearance. This is a little bit darker. In the parks, you will often see Sleeping Beauty with some gloss, especially maybe in the center here. But for our purposes today, I kind of want to stay true to some of that more vintage matte lip that we see in the movie. So we're gonna stick with a matte lip here. We're gonna set the foundation because I forgot to do that earlier. Just make sure you don't put any powder of that pressed powder up on top of this highlighter region, basically this area where you put the blush in, because we want a little bit more of a natural glow to still be able to shine through, and we don't want to matte the shininess there. That's like the one part of her face that's not gonna be matte. All right, the one last step before we put that wig and costume on, we're gonna spray our face down with a makeup sealing spray. So I'm gonna go do that. Don't need to do that on camera because I left it in my bathroom. And then I'll be back and all Aurora-fied for you. Here we have it, your finished Aurora Sleeping Beauty look inspired by the movie, the live action Maleficent, and Aurora at the parks, kind of combined into one ultimate like Aurora smoothie. If you also want a Sleeping Beauty crown, you can see exactly how to make this crown. It's really cheap, really easy, and you can see how to make it too in our Sleeping Beauty DIY crown tutorial. So make sure you check out that link in the description below as well. So if you want to see more videos like this, remember to subscribe and ring the little bell if you want them to come right to you. Make sure you tell me in the comments which princess you want to see next, because we are going to finish out this Disney princess makeup tutorial series. We have several already, so make sure you check out those. There will be links to all of the Disney princess makeup tutorials, as well as links to all the products that we used today in the description. Thanks so much. Hope this was helpful for you, and I'll see you next time. Really weird. I have purple eyes. I look like an alien. And I have a whole bunch of makeup brushes and sponges and apparently refuse to use them. Aurora Sleeping Beauty Rook. So since this is a... We lost one. Whoops. Once you finish up with the Bye Bye Under Eye, you're gonna throw it on the floor just like I did. Poof. Now I'm magically back.